You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Let me say something right now. Take this to the bank, okay? That person was allowed to scale that roof, okay? I am not some individual who's trying to assess the situation and have never been around the President of the United States. While Trump was in office, okay, I was around him a lot. And let me tell you something. The Secret Service, there is no person that can get around the perimeter of the Secret Service where Donald Trump is without them being aware of it. I am not kidding when I say that my husband once almost got shot by the Secret Service because he came down a staircase. I was speaking at the NRA, and he snaked in and came down, and they didn't know who he was. And they were like, freeze. Like, we will shoot you right now. So you're telling me that guy walked up and was trying to get the attention. The Secret Service saw him, and he's pointing, and he's saying, this guy's got a gun, and they're pretending they don't know what's going on? I mean, am I crazy? Do you guys actually believe this was a failure in intelligence? All of these Secret Service agents crawling around, and you don't think just what that guy said, that is common sense, okay? They're trying to now tell us that common sense is a conspiracy. That is the new thing that they're trying to tell the public. Common sense is a conspiracy. You're telling me this guy was able to walk up with a rifle in his hand and scale a roof, and you don't think the Secret Service, and let me tell you, they get there days before. Let me tell you how a security apparatus is supposed to run. Days before, they get in and they look at every possible angle in which somebody could hurt the president, okay? And I'm not even talking about once you get to the Secret Service. I'm talking about if you just have security in general. Before you speak, they will go, hey, this is the stage? Okay, let me tell you, that right there is a problem. They'll mark that as a spot. That right there is a problem. That part, we need to know who this person is. They'll knock on doors, okay? They got to figure out every possible angle that any individual could potentially get on a roof, because you know what? This has happened in the past. People have been shot from roofs. People have been shot from windows. There is a 0% chance that some random person with a rifle was able to scale a roof, unless there was just an unbelievable failure in intelligence. And you want to know why it's unbelievable? Because I don't effing believe it. I don't believe it. I want the names of the Secret Service agents that allowed this remarkable security failure to go down. Because I don't believe this. I'm done with this. I don't believe this, not for 1 second. Having been around the president, having literally almost watched my husband get shot because he came down the wrong set of stairs at the NRA, screaming at him. And I jump in front of someone like, don't shoot him, that's my husband. And you're telling me they knew he was gonna speak and they weren't worried about the roofs? A roof with an angle to shoot the president. This guy says 50 yards away. He watched this. And this wasn't like he scaled it silently. That guy looks incredulous because he knows it is incredulous, okay? He's going, they're asking, what do you mean? Did you tell me? Yeah, I told them. I'm sitting here going like this, right here. Someone has a rifle on a roof. This man was allowed like time to set up.
We have been teaching people how to grow online. It's been absolutely amazing. We have 3 people who have been able to reach monetization in less than 30 days. Growing YouTube channels, some from 0 people. We have one guy who had 2 subscribers before he started working with me. He started helping him. His views went up 4.8 million%. We're super excited. If anybody ever want to grow on YouTube, you reach out to me with the word coach.
Do you understand what that witness is telling us right there? Now he's dead. Oh, then suddenly they snapped back into life, guys, and they just took him out. They blew his head off. Nothing to see here, guys. He missed his shot, and he's an Antifa person. Antifa has nothing to do with the state. Let me ask you something, world. Do you buy this shit? Oh yeah, do you buy it? Do you?
That's a great question. Let's pause right there. Do y'all buy this Sugar Honey Iced Tea? Please let me know with some thumbs up whether or not you buy it. And please let me know with some thumbs down if you're like, nah, I'm not rolling. I'm not rolling at all. I don't believe it. Here we go. Now, this is Vivek speaking on it. Let's go.
What's going through my mind now, first of all, is we heard the story of that person, an innocent, enthusiastic rally goer who was shot and killed. First, our heart goes out to them and our condolences goes out to that family. But I should say this, Trace, is that I personally believe that God intervened today, not just on behalf of President Trump, but on behalf of our country. If you think about this, 1 centimeter's distance in the path of a bullet was the future of not only Donald Trump's life, but I think the life of the United States of America. Imagine what we would be talking about today were it not for a hair's length difference in the path of a bullet. And I think that that's frightening. And I think that this is a moment for us all to step back. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, voting for Biden, voting for Trump, it doesn't matter. This is a moment where if one positive thing comes out of this otherwise near tragedy, let it be this, that first of all, we saw a president, a commander-in-chief, who in his most vulnerable moment, you saw it unvarnished. He stood up, he took the fire, he took the hit, and still stood up for the people who he stepped up to represent. And I think the other thing we have to take away is that this is unacceptable in the United States of America. This is not who we are. Disagree or not, we settle our differences peacefully through free speech and open debate, not this way. And so if one silver lining comes out of tonight, let it be that. And I hope that we begin the process of healing as a country while avoiding what could have been a national disaster that really, without exaggeration, could spell the end of the United States as we know it had this gone a different direction.
Absolutely. Vivek, it's Martha McCallum here. I'm thinking about President Biden came out and made some comments. He may make more comments. We know they had a phone conversation earlier. He called what happened sick, and he said it's one of the reasons I want to unite this country. We've had a lot of vitriol, and I don't think it's, the politics, there's going to be a lot of politics starting this week, but what do you think the impact is as you look at where the country is right now? And given the fact that the last couple of weeks have been all about concerns that we see in polling over President Biden's ability to serve and his fitness?
Well, look, I'll give you a couple of tidbits that I've experienced even in the last few hours. I've had CEOs across the country from different corridors that would have been previously afraid to state their support for Donald Trump, or maybe even personally tepid about it, now coming in and asking, how can I help? I'm all in. These are exactly words of people who have contacted me alone in the last several hours, and I'm sure that's true of people across the country. The reality is I don't want to make this political tonight. This is not the moment for that. I will say that President Biden, who ran on the platform of uniting the country, had an opportunity even tonight to really rise to the occasion in a way that he fell short. I don't say this is criticizing him as a Democrat, but somebody who was rooting for a president to rise to the occasion immediately and not only offer the usual ritual incantation, the ritual condemnation of political violence. Yeah, we got that. But a deeper, heartfelt sense to say that, you know what, this is a man who I'm running against, but it is wrong that this should happen to anybody. And this is not who we are as Americans. And if I, as a U.S. president, have failed to create this environment in this country, then I will own that because the buck stops with me as the commander in chief. I don't think we saw that kind of message come from President Biden tonight. And for all of the discussions about how he came short after the debate, I do think that even tonight was a moment for a man who ran on the platform of uniting the country to have fallen short in the way that he did. But this is less about criticizing President Biden and more asking the question of how we as Americans are able to say we're moving on. We're turning a page on a chapter of our history where we see our political opponents as our enemies. Let tonight mark the end of that. And if so, something positive, as you could imagine, at least something small positive that came out of this tonight, let it be that.
Vivek, you talk about rising to the occasion. I want to go back to what you were saying earlier there, which was the response of the former president after moments after he had been shot. And he got up and he said, I need my shoes. And then he stopped and he fist pumped a couple of times and he said, fight, fight. And the response was USA, USA, because that's the natural response. At all of his rallies, he talks about fighting. It's been a theme. And the theme is they're coming for you, but I'm in the way. So you got to keep fighting. What do you think about that response and that having the wherewithal to do that?
I think those images we saw, our kids and our grandkids are going to be viewing that image in their history books. That was American history tonight and for the better. It was like the images of George Washington crossing the Delaware with the flag in the background. That's what we saw tonight. And it was one of those moments. Our founding fathers, they risked not only their fortunes, but their lives for this country. And I think this is one of those moments where we have a leader who has made a sacrifice. I'm personally grateful now more than ever for the sacrifices that President Trump has made. And I'm grateful that God stepped in tonight to save him for this country.
All right, Vivek Ramaswamy, thank you very much. Good to have.
That was Vivek Ramaswamy, guys. And as I said, 1,000%, I am behind Trump right now. And I pray that he and his family are well. And I pray that this country does better once he is the 47th president. If the Lord continue to cover him, make sure that he is good. You know what saddens me the most? When I looked on X yesterday, as many people as there was, and there was a lot of people wishing Trump well, there was even more people wishing damnation on Trump and dancing on his grave that he did not even meet. People were celebrating. They were hoping for the worst. Do you know how evil you got to be to hope that somebody dies, to hope that somebody is shot and killed, to put that energy out there so much that this even happens? That's the only reason why this actually happened, because somebody put that energy out there so much that this happened. It's sad, man. That's why we got to make sure we stay on point. We got to make sure we stay prayed up, and we got to make sure that we put God and family before anything.